it's not gonna be there forever, I don't know.
What's the, what length are they having to do the improvement on? I mean, how far is it?
Oh, it's about 300 yards.
Oh, so it's not even very far.
No, it's not a long ways. The problem right now is it's you come across the track and then to the east you're coming up a fairly steep grade, and the banks have a tendency to
Slough off.
slough off, and they leak a little water, and the water gets
Running down the road.
runs down. There's no ditches left, and so it runs down the road. And there's been a couple instances, I guess, with people trying to haul grain or load of hay up the hill, and they get part way up the hill and slide, and actually end up sliding back down. So what Crawford had actually done a bunch of work west of the bridge, cleaning ditches. They didn't really rebuild the road; they just cleaned the ditches so the water had some place to go. But in this area, they can't stay within the right of way to really get a good job done. So they're going back in the fields. They get an easement. Well, I shouldn't call it an easement. They get a right to work on private property to do that, and then they slope that back to the road.
It'll keep the clay and dirt from getting on the railroad too.
Yeah.
The railroad had a concern that the truck comes down that hill and pretty soon it's over the tracks.
Well, their ballast is all full of clay already from water that's washed clay into there, and they're going to try to, I think they're going to try to clean around the corner. There's a culvert north there just a little bit. I think they're going to try to get the drainage to go to that crossroad culvert. And they're going to take the dirt from the east side and haul it to the west side of the railroad crossing and build up the road between the railroad crossing and the bridge, so that the water doesn't go across there as often. But I think Mike had even volunteered to help them with the project, and I don't know whether they want any help or whether they're just going to do it with their crews. Other than that, I do need to get some stuff done on the DOT budget program. In 2 weeks I'll have to have that approved, so I'll try to bring some stuff in next week on the program. I think from our discussions earlier, you want to try to do something with M50 this summer, try to get an overlay done on that. I'm checking with our farm market balance to make sure we've got enough money there to let it. They won't let you. The farm market fund is struggling financially, and so it used to be they'd let you borrow 3 years ahead. Well, right now, if you haven't got enough in your farm market fund to do a project, and especially if it's not being reimbursed from bridge replacement funds or SDP or some other funding, you need to have the full amount in your account before the letting. And I need to do some calculating, but that project would take most of our farm market balance, take it down to about zero, which we'd probably look at some other projects we had on the book was like D15 west of Shaler, D59 west of Wall Lake, D15 west of, that's 3 miles west of Nemaha. All those projects would probably be pushed back in the program. I don't think there's any burning issues on any of them yet, but
So how long will that, what's our allotment on an annual basis? If we zero it,
about $750,000. That's $750,000 a year.
And we weren't projecting to use any of that for other purposes. I mean, this one's clearly, in my opinion, in the worst shape, and we ought to do it when we can do it. Like I said, it would just mean pushing some of those other projects back. We are using farm market funds, the project up there on the bridge replacement on M43, the 20% that's not covered by federal
was coming out of farm to market. But otherwise,
This M50 situation, if we can, I'd like to get it in this summer if we can. Otherwise, we risk another
yeah,
freeze and thaw, and it might be a disaster by the following year.
like I mentioned before, I mean, we really need to get the state to look at doing a fuel tax increase to get us some, generate us some more revenue to keep up with our maintenance on our roads. So far, I think we've been doing pretty good, but D59, I think, is going to need some work. Delaying that might not be such a bad idea, because I think we're going to look at a couple of bridges down there and maybe try to get them replaced before we did the overlay.
Where's that, west of, that's in Levy?
The D59, like the bridge over the Boyer there, just west of Wall Lake, that one's got some issues with some deck issues. It's a narrow bridge. I guess we want to take a look at possibly replacing that if it's DR eligible. I'm not sure if it's DR eligible yet. But there's a steel I-beam bridge, and there's some. It's either going to need a deck replacement or just replace the whole thing.
How many bridges is there? There's one over the Boyer.
Yeah, and then just west about a mile.
Oh, there's another creek.
Yeah, and that one I think.
It's between section 9 and 16, yeah.
That one, I think, we probably would be looking at a box. That one's got a fairly good skew on it, but it's a high grade, and I know Donnie and I talked about that and again, we haven't done any hydraulics on it, but he seemed to think that, we could get a box to work in that location. Not a real big drainage area, but
A single or more?
this time I don't know. I would guess it'd probably be a twin, but
When you talk about overlaying M50, are you talking about the 2 miles in the south of 175 too?
no, that's concrete.
Okay, that's right.
We wouldn't overlay that. The other thing we would probably
That's
look at,
pretty good shape.
the other thing we'd probably look at doing is if we got them in here to do this M50 project, assuming our funding will be okay. We probably would look at maybe at least doing the Grant City Road from 175 at least up to the Grant City turnoff. I need to go down there and take a look at that and see whether we do the whole thing, or whether, like that section north of the bridge, whether we quit doing major maintenance on it and just let it last as long as it can. It won't probably be a popular idea with the residents, because there's a few residents and stuff, through there in the old Grant City area. But and it does carry quite a bit of traffic. I mean, a lot of people go north there and sort of scatter once they get north of Grant City.
That bridge we're doing in Eden, or that double box, is that between 17 and 16? Or is it between, we're going up to Storm Lake today, up the swing.
Yeah, it's this one right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a mile north of Eden.
Yeah, it's 3.5 to 3/4 mile.